Hi there. So I was really reflecting recently how I started on my spiritual path and um, how, as time went on, I actually had to unlearn and undo and continue to have to do so. Unlearn and undo some of the things that actually seemed like a really good thing when I was on my spiritual path. I'm still on my spiritual path, but that actually ended up doing more harm to my growth and to me, really. And so I know that I've worked with others and I've witnessed others who have experienced something very similar. And I would say for many of us, it's not a little thing that I'm talking about. It is something that's quite rampant in spiritual communities. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. When I started on my spiritual path, my spiritual journey, I did it from many different avenues. I kind of jumped into a lot of things. And, you know, I was a student of psychology, psychotherapy, and I was doing meditation retreats. I had a yoga practice. I walked, I hiked, I really, it was incredible. I would say I went to others who were much more awakened than me and received transmissions. So I had many different avenues. Journaling, I did a lot in the beginning, and I received a lot from it. Some of the challenges that I experienced was, in the beginning, it was really easy to feel, relatively easy to feel really good. I was orienting towards opening my heart. I was orienting towards being reflective. I was orienting towards really being a good person, a loving, good person as much as I could, of course. And I did a lot of work. When things came up, I reflected, I journaled, I did art, I did so much. I moved my body. I integrated the body into my spirituality. But one of the things that I did was I was working on things really from the heart and head, and creating, in a way, my goodness, uplifting my goodness in so many ways. I really did. And this is what I see a lot. Like, oh my gosh, I appreciate it. There's a lot of work that gets done in a spiritual path. And when something has gone wrong in my life, I have been surrounded by communities of loving people who have been generous and kind and giving, and they really did the same work. They worked heart up, heart and head, generous, loving, oriented towards goodness, towards kindness, towards generosity. It was really, really beautiful, right? There's no question about that. The question comes, and this is where I eventually recognized, oh, there is a shadow side to this. And the shadow side ended up being that everything that is not approved of, that isn't oriented towards goodness, kindness, love, generosity, from my heart, from my head, got buried. And it got buried in my body. So come, much later, I'm still on my spiritual path. I'm still on my spiritual journey. And I am not really aware of the hatred, my hatred, my resentment, my anger, my negative, anything that I call negative, jealousy, envy, pride, all of those, or if they come up, I process them out, right? I process them out so that my heart can feel good again. My mind can feel like, oh, I'm a good person. And I process them back to get buried into my body. I process them in a way where my body started to shut down. I didn't know what to do with all of those negative emotions. I didn't know what to do with them. And one of the things that happened is that muscle that came to suppress and repress got really, really strong. In fact, the more we grow, the more we experience spiritually, the more power is under this muscle to repress and to suppress. And so we identify with the parts of us that are really beautiful, really good. We struggle with the parts of us that we can see aren't. And then there's the parts of us that we don't see. And they are acting out of our consciousness. Because they don't go anywhere. They don't just get stored and repressed in the body, but they act out from outside of a consciousness. And really, and when I say consciousness, oftentimes they use the analogy of an iceberg. They say what we're conscious of is the tip of the iceberg. What we're not conscious of is the whole iceberg that's underneath the tip. So in spirituality, when we are on a spiritual path, oftentimes we start to become more conscious of what's not just the tip of the iceberg, but there's a lot. And it can be very challenging if we've been on a spiritual path. We are either acting out against others or ourselves. And we do it unconsciously. We do it out of our own consciousness. And we can't see it. But we can see we're struggling. We can see it. We might be struggling with how we're feeling. We may be struggling with how we're behaving with ourselves. Destructive patterns. We may be struggling with broken relationships around us without feeling like, oh, I have something to participate in this. We may be struggling with not feeling alive anymore. Like we feel alive, but we're not at the same time. There's something that happens from the heart up, heart and head. We feel to a certain extent like we've done so much growth. But again, as I mentioned, it's buried in the body. Okay, so what to do about this? What to do about this muscle that suppresses, that represses, that things that we're struggling with, that we can't understand why we're struggling with them. We use all of our tools. We feel really good about ourselves and our growth. And yet, something's not, as I mentioned. So what to do about it? Okay. So here is the role of the body. Here, right here, could be the moment that you start to ground in the body. You feel your pelvis, you feel your legs, you feel your feet, you feel your chest, your belly, you feel your arms, your back. Come back. You feel your head. Come back. Come back to sensing your body. When we start to sense our body, we are now becoming more aware of what's in the iceberg. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It's really very difficult, in fact, because, we hear about these enlightened beings who have created messes. They have created messes from a place of what's underneath the iceberg. What is the rest of the iceberg that we don't see? And that is in the body. So come back. Really, this is the way. Come back to your body. Start to presence in your body. Don't leave this part out. When those negative emotions, the things that we don't approve of arise, feel them in your body. Feel them. You'll even catch yourself repressing or suppressing them. And sometimes you won't be able to stop the repression or the suppression. And sometimes you'll be able to feel it and allow it for a moment or many moments. And you will start to see more and more the content, the memories, the wounds, the hurts. I'm also available for any individual or group work to support you in this process. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to reach out to me. And really, I hope that this video is giving you kind of at least a beginning to reverse this process, to reverse the blockages that we end up creating on a spiritual path, so that we can get back on it again, so we can feel like we're aligning again to what really brought us to seeking. All right.